What's good? It's your man Zobeone Kenobi of NoMadHoops, man. Today, this one right here, man. He's not a myth. He's a living legend. It's Kyle, the Voice Montgomery of 3x3, man. How you
Zo,
doing?
what's good?
Man, I'm chilling, man. I'm really, really ecstatic and happy that you're able to be here because you stay on the nomadic movement, man. You're everywhere, man. Where you at now?
Man, I'm in Amsterdam. I'm covering the 3x3 Pro League final out here. 2 days, got some international flavor, a couple of American teams, got the Dutch teams. I'm busy this year. I'm doing the Fiba 3x3 and I'm popping up at some other tournaments too. You never know where I might pop up. It's a nomad movement.
Man, hey, man, it's a nomadic movement, man, all day, every day, man. So let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. You're an HBCU grad, right?
Yep, Alabama State.
Alabama State. I'm a Eagle, North Carolina Central University. So
Come on.
HBCUs is representing it here.
You know that.
3X game. So we here. Now, as a broadcaster, what are some of the levels that you've broadcasted on?
Man, I've broadcasted on pretty much every level there is. I did the Olympics last year for 3x3. I've covered the NBA Finals, the WNBA Finals my time with the NBA. That's where I got my big start, was working actually for the NBA in Atlanta. I used to do the .com highlights, top 10. I used to do game time on Saturdays in a show called The Jump. Collegiate sports, I had to do that locally while I worked in Houston. So, I covered the Cougars, and I would go out to Texas A&M and went out to Ole Miss. When I was with the ACC network in Charlotte, I covered all the ACC teams, went to the ACC tournament. So, the Dukes and the Carolinas and, Wake Forest, and I was there. I was covering all those. So NBA, Olympic, collegiate, high school, 3x3, Streetball, from Red Bull in the States to FIBA internationally. I've covered a good bit of it all. So
you've done it all. I mean, that's why you're the voice. So for those who don't understand what I'm saying when I say that he is the voice, so whenever you watch a FIBA 3x3 Masters Challenger, anything on YouTube, and you hear that flashy talk or that give and go type movement of voice, that's the man right there. So there's different levels of competition. Like you said the grassroots all the way up to the pro circuit. You say you're in Amsterdam right now. So
yeah,
is this part of like the pro circuit?
This is a qualifier to a FIBA 3x3 event. They started a new league out here, and Amsterdam has been one of the or Netherlands in general have been one of the more active federations and kind of growing 3x3 at a grassroots level, providing opportunities for youth to, get acclimated in the game, learn the game that way when they're, 18, 19, 20, going from that youth stage into the senior level events, that they'll be right. So this is actually a senior level play-in. So for example, like the team that wins the final over the next 2 days, they'll qualify to our Saudi Arabian Masters. So we'll be going to Jeddah this year. Riyadh, I think, is what the official city is. And whoever wins this tournament is going to go there. The second place team qualifies for a challenger in China, which could also still qualify them to a World Tour Masters. So, there are different levels of event. Obviously, the World Tour is the top level. This is where all the pro teams play. But you have challengers, you have quests, and there are different color bars if you go to FIBA 3x3's website that illustrate the level of importance for the event by color. So World Tour, I believe, is a black level event. You have purple level events, gray level events, and either it qualifies you to a challenger, but you hope that the event qualifies you to the World Tour, which is something we need more of in the United States. Really,
the United States, it came to us pretty late. We're late coming to the party. I know many years ago, there's Streetball, which Streetball has, like 8 teams. I talk about them often or whatever. I'm really cool with the owner, Mike.
Michael Ranovitz.
Yeah, that's my guy. So, we shoot the breeze, and, he kind of helps with the nomadic movement. He knows at some point, we're going to be, we're gonna be competition to him, but it's all in love. But he had three ball many years ago, and he had a couple of the superstars that we know today.
Well, they got on the squad now Dylan Travis. They got Trey Bardsley, the young gunner. I'm trying to think back to that three ball USA team that he had.
Damo Jones.
Oh yeah.
He
Jamo,
had
Cat, Marcel Esenwune.
Yep, Esenwune. Yep.
These dudes are all playing out here in Amsterdam this weekend. As a matter of fact,
I know. I talked to everybody this weekend. I talked to all of them. Like the week that they have something going on, I always pop in and I like to say good luck, you know. And then there's times when I'm watching and they have to go because this is the first year that there's 4 U.S. teams in one challenge. I mean, one tournament.
Well, you got Omaha three ball, which obviously Michael Ranovich runs. We got a Washington D.C. team that is backed by USA Basketball. You got Princeton, who is still hooping in 3x3. You got New York Harlem, who is still hooping in 3x3. And from what I hear, there might be a couple more teams that are on the way too. So we might see another variation of Omaha. Princeton, I know, is trying to get another team together and get them in circulation to where they're going to be getting some ranking points and competing in some tournaments. So look, this year on the American side of things, I can definitely see the incentive, and I can definitely see the effort in trying to grow their presence as far as the FIBA 3x3 World Tour and the national competitions and everything else. As a product of that, you got more players competing, more players learning the game. That only helps your national team when you're trying to field a team that's going to compete for the Olympics or, when you go to the World Cup. Now they have a wider variety of players and a talent pool that they can choose from, simply because more dudes are interested in playing the game now. So that's on the uptick. It doesn't mean that work still doesn't have to be done. It means that we're starting to see some semblances of that effort starting to bear some fruit. The interest is rising, but we want to see it keep going up, especially with the next Olympics is 2024. That's right. So we're talking about less than 2 years. We gotta have a team that's going to not only compete, but USA men are trying to win gold after not making the Olympics last time. So it's a big thing.
Correct. This is a really, really large thing. But congratulations to the women's U.S. team that went into the first ever. The first ever is like, hey, look, we may not have no men's team in right now, but women, we in here. We're gonna take that gold home. So they brought that home for us. So shout out to them.
The women been holding it down. The ladies team's been holding it down for the United States.
Man, day in, day out, man. They got Kara Lawson, head coach at Duke University as their advisor. So in 3-on-3, a lot of people don't know that there's no coaches, they're advisors. And, because when you're out there, no one's making a substitution but the players.
Yep, but the players, you got to. That's one thing I really like about the game too. Is like, it has some parallels and some things that I think are transferable to even life itself. Like, you got to be able to make decisions in high pressure situations. You got to learn how to work within a group without somebody actually giving you direction from the top and saying, no, you do this and you do this and you do this. No. You got to compromise. You got to be able to work with a group, sacrifice. I got a tattoo on my arm. It says, you probably can't read it, but this thing says never. It says never fold.
Yep,
it's an ace card. Never fold. And in 3x3, you got to adopt that mentality too, because this game is hard as hell. You got 12-second shot clocks, a 10-minute game. You think you gassed in 5-on-5. 3x3 is a different level. So. It's a 2-point game. It's a minute and a half left. The game is within your reach, but you dog tired. You've been running all game long. Net ball come out the net, y'all clearing it. You got a D up. You tired. You ain't got no gas left. But you gotta dig deep. You gotta find a way. You gotta find a way to meet that adversity. Never fold. Fight until the last. Leave it all on the court. Fight until the very last drop. 3x3, I think, embodies that. So. There's some life lessons that you can take from this game too.
It definitely is life lessons. And I'll tell you this from anybody that I haven't played in a challenger, but I've been to national, so I'm a national player, alumni of national 3x3 in the U.S. So that's the highest caliber you can be at. unless you till you go to a challenger and progress and go on and try to make it into the pro circuit. One of the things that you mentioned was having that endurance, that push, that go, that drive, never folding. In the last tournaments that I've played in, I was unfortunate to only have 3 players. So I had no substitutions in any of the last. From the matter of fact, I played, this is not just in the grassroots. This happened to me in nationals also. One of our players, our 4th man, got hurt, and we ended up having to play with 3 in nationals. So now you're talking about the best of the best in the U.S. and you're playing with 3 players. So you already know you about to get canceled out. Like
it's only a matter of time.
It's
because the
only
more
matter
you advance, the more tired, more wear and tear you're gonna have. I mean, even if you survive this game, now you got to go to another battle with 3, and if you win again, you got to do it again.
Man,
and each game, there's less and less in the reservoir.
Right. And to see what I did like about that is the fact that the game play. So you would play like two games. We had to play 3, but 2 games in like one day. Where in the grassroots, this is a one-day tournament. It'll start at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and you'll be done by like 4, and it might have like 24 teams in just minutes. So that's how fast the game really is. You know, a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of endurance prep that you need to get in to work on that. So yeah,
no, it's even with FIBA 3x3, they've got, you know, an entirely different system in terms of how they evaluate the players physically, in terms of their training regimens. You know, even though FIBA 3x3 has been in existence for, you know, professionally for a decade now, it's still fairly new in the big picture. So, you know, they're still in the testing ground on, you know, learning how athletes' bodies react differently, learning different training techniques that you would utilize instead of, say, you know, what's customary with 5-on-5. You know, it's high impact, it's high intensity. It's from the strategy of the game. You know, all these things are different dynamics than what most of these players are accustomed to with 5-on-5. So, you know, we're still at a grounds to where, you know, it isn't a finished product yet, even though it's been presented in the Olympics. You know, there's still new folds to the game. We're seeing new rules introduced that make the game a little bit quicker. Obviously, nutrition and training is going to change over the years. Players are going to approach it differently. So, you know, there's a lot of room for growth. You know, and fortunately, you'll see 3x3 as an Olympic event for the next 3 Olympic Games. So it ain't going nowhere no time soon.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. A lot of people ask these questions all the time, but I don't like asking the question of like, who's your top 5? I don't like asking the question of who you going to take, because those are loaded questions. But what I will ask is name, because in 3x, when you're on the tour or a channel, on the tour, you have, correct me if I'm wrong, 6 players to a roster, 4 active.
Yep, 4 active.
So if somebody gets hurt out of the 6, you only have 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me who you think the top 6 players that blew up the fastest are in 3x3.
We'll go old school and new school. New school is this dude plays for Belgium, Antwerp, on the Pro Tour. His name is Thibaut Vordvoort. I call him Must See TV. So, you know, the nickname speaks for itself. This dude is electric. He got bounce. He shoots it crazy. He played outstanding at the Olympics, and they just started playing like a year and a half ago. So he's risen to stardom. Some people consider him to be the best in the game right now. The other cat plays for UB, the Serbian team is dominating the world tour. They won every Masters. He's the number 1 player in the world, Strahinja Stojicic. It used to be his brother, Stefan Stojicic, who had the big name. But the little bro came out of nowhere, and he's unstoppable. He's kind of skinny, kind of got a frame like Manu Ginobili, plays a little awkwardly, but he's a bucket. He can score. He rebounds, effort. He's risen to stardom super quick. A couple of gold medalists we saw him win at the Olympics are for Latvia, Norris Miezis and Carlos Lasmanis. Lasmanis is doing some big three stuff now, but he for the last 5 years he's played FIBA 3x3. Young dude, I think he's 27 now, but I remember seeing him just 5 years ago, which is relatively, not too long ago for me. Here in Amsterdam, where I'm at right now, they won the Europe Cup. These dudes went from no names, nobodies to top tier, top 3, top 5 level players in the game. I'm gonna go on the American side. We had a couple dudes that played 3x3 for a year, maybe not even that, and they became the 2 most dangerous players in the game. One of them plays in the league still. His name is Alfonso McKinney, and the other one's name is Mike Henry. He was also on the USA team, and I don't know what their mentality was when they approached the game, but I knew that they hadn't played 3x3 before, but they picked it up like that. They went all the way to the gold medal game at the 2016 World Championships. They ended up losing to Serbia, but their rise was so rapid. I mean, they took the league by storm. Yeah, these are cats that have come out of nowhere and have really made names for themselves in the league. And you can't talk about 3x3 without mentioning Dusan Bullet. Although his rise wasn't out of nowhere, he had been dominating in Europe for a long time. For Americans, he may be like kind of a new name, but he in a 10-year span, he went from being Dusan Bullet to being what most people consider to be the greatest 3x3 player of all time. So shout out to Dusan Bullet too. He's 3x3 GOAT.
Yeah, I definitely consider him. Yeah, the GOAT. I mean, because when I got introduced to the game, that's what I saw. I saw Mr. Bulletproof. And I was like, he's really good at what he does, and he's in the big three. He's in the big three. He played last season and this season or whatnot, and that's a really major and big leap. Okay. Yo, Kyle, I really appreciate you coming out here. Is there anything you want to tell anybody? Your social media or anything like that?
Well, yeah, y'all can follow me at 3x3 The Voice on Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Give me a follow. Make sure y'all following the FIBA 3x3 World Tour this year. Make sure y'all being active and getting involved and going to the tournaments in the United States. We're still trying to grow this game. And just show love. And make sure you following NoMadHoops. Making sure y'all showing my guy Zoe some love. This dude comes from the streets. One of the best to do it. Doesn't really have a name of a lot of other cats and stuff like that. But this dude is entrenched in the game. He knows the game. He knows the players. He's got a heart for it and incentive to help 3x3 and Streetball really reach its highest heights. So don't sleep on that. Show love, show support. And, I'm going to keep doing my thing. I hope y'all show love too.
Hey, man, Kyle, the 3x3, the voice himself, not a myth, a living legend. Thank you, man. Look, I'm Zobeone Kenobi, bro. Don't act like you don't know me. You know me, Zobe, man. We out, man.
Why?